Hey everybody,
Gotta
thanks
love
for
it.
downloading. Hey everybody, thanks for downloading this episode of the Black and Gold podcast. Brought to you each and every week by Boonshine Brewing Company. And introducing Boonshine's first ever pumpkin brew, Goodness Gracious. I don't know. Charles, did you come up with that name? Goodness Gracious?
No, I did not.
Oh,
Although it's very, it's in my ballpark. I would have probably come up with something like that.
yeah, this sounds like you.
Very with that little bit of a punny.
Yeah, punny. Yeah. This inventive collaboration stays true to the classic German alt beer while adding just a delicate hint of fall gourdness. I like that they're sticking to the gourd there. Uh, Alt beers share similarities with an English amber or brown ale, semi-sweet with a soft honey, fruity, and our brew crew took it to the next level by house caramelizing over 100 pounds of real pumpkin. No Starbucks spice blend here. The result, this is what a shot at Starbucks. The result, an elegant, earthy layer of starchy, what is this, Maillard sweetness that complements the malt beautifully. Think I drink, therefore I am, if it were born in autumn. A balanced old world beer, perfect for sipping by the fire pit. Sessionable, smooth, and actually one you want more than one of. I like that. Charles, what do you think about pumpkin beers?
I think they definitely serve a time and place. Have I ever talked about pumpkin beers? Ever? Like
We've done
once
like
before on
almost
these?
600 episodes. I'm sure you have.
I'm sure I have. Uh,
Go for it.
I just hate how pumpkin beers. Now, Moonshine's doing it right. They're putting a pumpkin beer out in the fall, right? I hate when the pumpkin beers are hitting the shelves in like late August. And you're like, I'm not ready for
Mm,
that. I'm still hot.
we have talked
It's
about that. Yeah.
yeah, and it's mired is how you would pronounce that word. That looks like it's spelled male and then lard. Mired or mired.
Mired
So it's
sweetness.
a
Thank
little
you.
yeah.
My favorite pumpkin beer is and I'm glad that Boonshine has one. I'd like to have it. Um, Becky, if you're listening to this, you need to get me a sample. If they don't put it in cans, you gotta save some for me. Um, I like the Foothills pumpkin. That's my favorite pumpkin beer. I think it tastes really good. Um, but I like that Boonshine's got one. I want to taste it. And I want to also shout this out just because it just looks so good. I know we just talked about the new beer or whatever, but man, the new specials that they have right there with the food, the potato poblano soup, the caprese flatbread, and the jalapeno poppers, just all look outstanding. Just check out their Instagram, and you can see it right now, or you can go by and then check it out. It's just like great cold weather food. This looks really, really good. So shout out Boonshine. I'm your host of the Black and Gold Podcast, Alex Johnson. With me, as always, with a giant sneeze to begin the show, he is the world's most famous App State fan. He is Big C. Big C, what's going on?
Not a lot. Don't know if how much of that got in there, but I'm sure something came through. Don't know where that came from. I haven't sneezed all day long, and then as soon as you hit record, it's like time to sneeze, baby.
That's right. That's right.
When,
There's a lot of
when
things you can take care of before we hit record, but sneezing,
no, those things usually don't give you like any type of warning, and by the time you've got one, it's really hard to hold them back.
yeah. Yeah, it really is. So we're in crossover season. Got some basketball to talk about, some Olympic sports to talk about. And we got a game this weekend. There are no special guests this week. Couldn't book one. And or didn't book one, I guess is what I should say. And yeah, we're in just we'll I just touch on this for just a little bit because obviously we'll have the mail satchel and cover some basketball here. I mean, this feels weird. We really haven't been. I don't know. That's not true. I mean, certainly the last year, 24, and then in 22, we were kind of staring down the final stretch of the season, hoping for bowl eligibility. It came down to the final, weekend where we lost in 22 and 24. And people forget, we played for a conference championship and had a really good team in 23. but man, it almost feel like, whatever, I'll say it. I don't care. It does feel like the season, like the postseason is like gone. That's what it feels like. It feels like we're going to go to JMU and, what is it, Charles? 20-point dogs? Is that what we are on the road right now?
I've heard someone say that. I actually haven't looked at it because when you hear a rumor like that, it's not like I really need to know. No, it's enough. It could be 18, it could be 22. That's enough. That's
It's
enough
enough.
to not make you want to look it up, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
at
I
least
get
it
it.
is for me.
Yeah, I get it. And then, we got Arkansas State and Marshall at home. Now, in the world of college football, we could win all three of these. That would surprise me if we won all three. I will say that. We could lose all three, which, God, I hope we don't. But this is the these are the times that try men's souls. Who said that? Was that Abraham Lincoln? Was that Socrates? Was that
I'm not.
Pedro Martinez? I don't know who said that. I have no idea. But this is an interesting week because, when you look at the beginning of the year, I remember thinking like, I don't know, man. Every year I look forward to that JMU game now because I hate them. I want them to lose, and I love spoiling their year. And now it's like, ooh, we have zero impressive wins. We have a lot of, yeah, but we almost won. And we know what that's like, trying to, you know, squeeze blood from a stone. But all you can do is support the boys in the black and gold and support your team. So
You know, yeah. I feel a little bad because I think part of this pod was started on Sunday morning.
yeah, I
Really,
agree.
because we usually try to keep it around 30, 25 to 30 minutes on the post game pod.
Yep.
And I think the frustrations just came out. I know I did. I know it came out of me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so I felt like I got some stuff out that I needed to say, and then now I'm just kind of like in this weird feeling, like you said, like it's weird, but it's not, because it feels like we're here again doing the same thing that we did last year. The
Yeah.
circumstances are clearly different, and I honestly believe we're just in this. We're in this program just faced a lot in a year, in a year and a half's time.
Oh
You
yeah.
know what happened last summer, losing a player,
Mm-hmm.
and then going through a storm,
Mm-hmm.
and then going through firing an alum, and then going through the death of an alum coach, and then a new coach, and it's just been a lot for those boys, whether they're healthy or not, whether they're, we have, ACLs intact or arms broken or whatever it may be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just been, I mean, if it's a lot for us, you can't imagine how it's been for the rest of them, the ones who actually strap on the pads and um, put in the work and go to class and try to entertain us. So it's just, I don't know. It's we feel like we're just kind of, we're here and we're hoping that's, and we're going to be there, and we're going to turn on the TV, and we're going to drive to Boone. Everyone will drive to Boone, next week and the following week, and hope things, hope things turn out for the best. Is kind of the best way I can think of saying it at the moment.
I don't think that I have really put that timeline together until you just brought that up, backing all the way up to Jack Murphy. I mean, we played in that conference championship game, and granted, we lost, right? I mean, you know, against a really good Troy team, and
Yep.
who is it, Kamani Vidal, who's now scoring touchdowns in the NFL, um, played in the Cure Bowl, and then from that point, it really has been just like down performance and events from Jack Murphy to Helene, Coach Clark. I mean, you already said it, but I mean, not a lot of high points, culturally, results wise, even last year, and we talked about this, even when we won, it didn't feel like we played great. We did enough to win, but it's not like, oh man, like we beat Georgia State really bad down in Atlanta. We didn't have a game like that last year where we beat somebody really bad. We won, but we didn't look great in any of them. So man, yeah, we're kind of in this spot where, you know, we said this a lot while we were winning, and it comes from just watching for years and years, like we have. Enjoy it while it lasts, because you never know what's going to happen. So, I believe very much that like we will win again. Like we are going to have a winning team again. Of course, I believe that. We just don't know when that switch is going to flip. When that collection of players are going to put their foot down, and because it will not take one player, it will not take two players, it will not take football is a very player like you need a lot of players. It's not, you can't just take three guys that really want to win and win a football game. Like you need guys to turn it around, and I just don't know when that's. I know there are a lot of guys that want to, but when is that light bulb going to come on? I don't know. So it's going to be an interesting show, I guess, for sure. But before we get into all that, and man, my throat has been. I apologize. My throat's been dry since I think I got COVID last weekend. But we're in 2025 now, where nobody checks. You just stay at home until your fever goes away. You stop coughing everywhere. So I apologize if I sound like I'm coughing or whatever, folks. But before we get to the mail satchel and talk football, let's talk Olympic sports. And our Olympic sports brought to you by Styles Roofing. For those of you in the greater Charlotte area, 704-842-1874 is a number you need to know to call or text Appalachian alumnus Billy Styles to get your roof fixed, to get it repaired, to get it replaced. They're the best in the business. They love working with Appalachian fans, and there are a lot of you guys in Charlotte, and I know plenty of you have called them. So if you need to check on your roof, you've been putting it off, and now it's getting cold, it's been raining, whatever, check them out. They're not going to get paid till the job's done and you're satisfied. They work quick. They do a great job. And Community One Insurance, North and South Carolina, if you're listening to this right now and you want to save some money and get some better service with your insurance, whether that's home and auto, property, commercial insurance, boat insurance. I don't know if your kid drives a little big wheel. I don't know. Maybe there's big wheel insurance. I don't know how that works. Renter's insurance. But if you want better rates, better service, check them out. Zach Ligon and Matthew Johnson are both graduates of the Walker College of Business from the Brantley Risk Management Insurance Department. They do a great job. And the number to get in touch with them, 828-455-2335. You can also email matthew.johnson@communityoneInsurance.com. Also check out their website at communityoneInsurance.com. Like I said, they like working with app fans. Let's start with field hockey. We got a season that has ended. The MAC Conference tournament occurred this past week. Played Ohio on Wednesday, November 5th. We win the opening round of the MAC tournament in field hockey. We lose to UMass, which is a bummer, on Thursday, 1-4. So, Charles, I think that what I would do, I would mark this as a successful season as a whole, 14-6 overall, 7-2 in conference. Thought we did really, really well. Had some big wins. But at the end of the day, it got ranked during this year, but fell short. Season's over.
Yeah, the the MAC field hockey conference is kind of deep. UMass was very, very good. Miami was very good, and that's tough when you're in a league where you kind of have almost like a one bid situation. And UMass fell to Miami. I don't. They could be included in the tournament. I don't know. I'm not real sure. I don't know if those brackets have even been selected because it was just over the weekend. But I think it was a great season. We played a lot of ranked opponents. Fell short in some of them, but I think it gives you a great idea of where we're heading and what we can do with that. We're a perennial conference contender. You'll take that, and so you can take that to recruiting. You find better avenues in that realm, and then hope that next year you re-rack them and you win those games that you kind of dropped this year against these tougher opponents, such as those ones that we play in non-conference, and certainly against the UMasses and the Miamis of the world.
Yeah. I can't believe it. It's wrestling season now. And we have a little bit to talk about here. On Saturday, we faced off against Navy and Hofstra at the Journeyman's Wranglemania. You know I love that name, Charles. We do drop that duel to Navy, which you got to figure the Naval Academy's probably got some pretty good wrestlers. And Hofstra, we do defeat Hofstra 24-14. But then we have the Journeyman Collegiate Classic, where we have 5 wrestlers go unbeaten in pool play, which is pretty awesome. Alex Hopper goes 4-0 in pool play or match play or whatever in his pool. Let me just say that 174 pounds. That's a great weight class. You're not getting too heavy where you're sweaty and slow, but you're not like that, like 120 where they're jumping around like monkeys in a cage and they never sweat. 174 is that's a really good weight class. Aldo Hernandez, Anthony Cornetta, Logan Eller, and it's either Stefan or Steven. I think Stefan Moncrief, who's a heavyweight. They all go 3-0. So we have 5 unbeaten wrestlers. That sounds pretty cool to me, Charles. And I guess this is I don't know. I'd say it's a positive step to kick off wrestling season.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of look at this as a little bit of like preseason, right? Like you're not in the duels. Obviously, individual matches, in NCAA qualification, it all matters at the end of the day. Like that's you're all wrestling for each other, but at the same time wrestling for the team. It's not like you can go out on the mat and help someone else out. You can't tag team in this sport. So it's a good start before we get down the road to December when we start getting into the dual place. I apologize. I just closed my browser out on that one, and so I just kind of wung it there.
It's okay. No, it's okay. We are going to Morgantown Sunday. We will be in Morgantown for the Mountaineer Quad. We will face off against Princeton and Glenville State, wherever that is. And then also number 20 in the country, West Virginia. That'll be on ESPN Plus. That'll be cool. So glad that wrestling's back. Expecting good things from Coach Bentley and his staff. Looking forward to it. Volleyball now. Moving on to volleyball. And, so, I mean, good news and, like, not good news, I guess. Good news is we're not on a losing streak anymore. Kind of not great news is we didn't sweep at home. So, really, we're hoping to get back on and put some wins together this weekend. This weekend, it's on the road. You split at home, I guess that's fine. But we do split a series with Marshall where we look really dominant in the first match, sweeping 3-0. But then we drop 3-1 against Marshall on Friday afternoon. So we do round out the season on this weekend against Troy, Friday and Saturday. So what was a really, really hot start to this season now was kind of been a little rough. 5-9 in conference overall, 14-11 14-11 overall, and then 5-9 in conference. So, Charles, what do we think about volleyball?
We got some work to do. We're in the 6th spot for in the East, and I think only the top 5 advance to the tournament. If I'm looking at what I was looking at, right? So we had that tiebreaker with Marshall, so we need Marshall to go and lose a couple this weekend to give ourselves a chance, and then we got to go take 2 from Troy. Like if we don't take 2 from Troy, it ain't gonna happen, right? It's unlikely. But Marshall has Southern Miss on the road, and Southern Miss is not that great. They are tied with Louisiana for that 5th slot in the West. So teams with something to play for, right? Marshall has something to play for. Louisiana or Southern Miss has something to play for. We have something to play for. And then Troy is actually right there in the West. Like I don't know if they could. I mean, I haven't gone too deep into this, but they could fall in, fall out. They're only a game up on Louisiana and Southern Miss in the West, so a lot could happen. So there's a lot on the line here. This could be the end of their season this weekend, or it may not.
Who knows? Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. Um, let's move on to hoops. This is our first. This is our first episode covering actually results from basketball. Pretty excited about that. The ladies played Western Michigan. So of course we recorded early last week because it was a short week for the football game. We host Western Michigan. Charles, you were at this game, right?
I was at this game. This was Monday night. I was at like 5 games in 7 days last week. So
yeah, it was a lot. So we beat up on Bob Jones on Friday. We were supposed to, 110-35. That was an absolute beatdown. But I was really encouraged to see because we were following the ladies game as well from our house, but it's not as easy to flip back and forth on Roku with. Anyway, I'm just being long story short, we were keeping up, but a 20-point win at home to open up things against a peer. I like that. Charles, tell us a little bit about watching that game in person.
it looked like the first game for both sides in the first half. So it was 23-19 at halftime. We were actually down by 4, but it didn't feel like we were far away. We just had a 7-point second quarter.
Mm-hmm.
But we held them defensively to basically the same total in each period. But in the second half, we really started to attack all of their defenders one-on-one, with basket, like close to the basket, whether it be guards posting a little bit or wings or whatever. And our shots just honestly just started going in, and the important ones as well. This looked like 2 different halves. Like you couldn't look at that and say, hey, this is the same team in the first half and the second half. We just kind of won going away. I mean, we got the threes rolling in the second half. We hit 6 of them, and we were 9 of 12 in the third quarter and 7 of 15 in the fourth quarter from the field. Didn't miss a free throw in the second half. That was helpful. So yeah, what we have here is like Jaden McBride scored 16. She started. Deja Mitchell had 16. She's a starter, played 28 minutes. Emily Heggie, we are all familiar with her, 11 points. Those round out the double-digit scores. Emma Smith is kind of like our starting point guard, it's like ball handler. She scored 9, had 6 rebounds in there as well, and 3 assists and 4 steals. So like a very well-rounded player. She doesn't flash, but she just takes care of the ball and takes care of herself. But we really depended a little bit more on the bench in this game. Was McCrary played 24 minutes, and Elena Pericik played 22 minutes, and Jada Burton played 13. So this is just a game that's got away from Western Michigan. We just looked like the better team, and shots went in. I was encouraged to see, not some down the stretch, situation where you're kind of fighting for one. But I hope this at the end of the day becomes a good win, at the end of the season.
Yeah.
But 20 points in the first game, you will take that 20-point win.
Yeah.
I was impressed.
I'm really happy for Coach. I think she's doing the right thing. I know she's really excited about her roster makeup, so great start. Really, really happy with that. So we're recording this on a Tuesday night. They play Davidson tomorrow. Or if you're listening to this, folks, they're playing Davidson on Wednesday today. So looking forward to see how they match up against Davidson. So let's talk about men's hoops. No, we have 3. No, wait, is this 4? We got 4 games with the men. Yeah, we do. Wow. That has been a long week because I went to almost all these games too. I'm tired. I'm gonna fall asleep. Is that okay? We do drop a game to Central Michigan. I thought they looked really well. I think Coach Kearns just does a really good job. I think after the game, and you do a good job tweeting, what he says. But in a lot of these post games, I think he summarizes it better than probably anybody. Central Michigan played really well. It's a good team, well coached. They had a lot of juice. And we didn't play our best game and didn't look great. We did score 40 in the second half to, try to nip at their heels. But I think the hole was dug. Was not a great start Charles, I don't know if there's anything to really nail down specifically in that game alone. I do, and then obviously we play Carolina, not that Carolina. We play Carolina and then follow up with another, I guess you call it peer game on Sunday against Central, where it's kind of the opposite of what happened with Central Michigan, where the hole was dug early for North Carolina Central. They didn't really have a prayer coming back. We looked really good. So, and we just got done playing Ohio State, and that was a little lopsided.
Yeah.
Too.
So I guess to kind of sum up these 4 games, which is kind of going to be difficult, because like I said, I was at the women's game at the same time the Central Michigan game was on. So I was literally watching 2 games at once, one on my phone and one in the arena. So in the second half, we were not looking great, and women were making a comeback, and things were looking good. So I was more focused on what's in front of me versus what in front of me in person versus what's on the telephone. But just as people get familiar with this team, I mean, Casey Jennings looks to be the guy who's going to score for us.
Yep.
And shoot a lot and be someone who's dependent upon. And he did score 21 against Central Michigan, but it was just a night for them. Everybody on our team had a negative plus minus, and everyone on their team had a positive plus minus, except for one guy who played 15 minutes off the bench. That kind of tells you everything right there. And we have seen this in the past with Kern's teams where if they go on the road and it's not like they play in these MAC games. We've kind of gotten run out of the gym a time before, but we all also know at the same time that this is not a game that defines our season, but more of like it sets the tone. And I think Coach Kearns does a good job of kind of hinting at, they had a lot of new players too. And they had a new coach. We had a feel on what they would run, but we didn't know what they had to, what it took to run that. They clearly do, and they execute what they're going to do, and they want to play high speed. And kind of like Ohio State tonight, Tuesday night, November 11th.
Yeah.
That they wanted to play high speed too. Now that's a different makeup in these 2 games. These are both 2 road games. We kind of got blown out in the gym a little bit. But yeah, it was we're kind of just setting our bar. Like, what do we need to fix? Like, where are our deficiencies? Like, once you get in there and you start playing, it's like, okay, do certain players need to settle down? Do certain players need to just have get a couple games under their belt? Yeah, sure. I think that's clear. And others just got to find their roles. And so we're all learning each other a little bit. But this team does seem connected at this point. I'll say that they do seem to have like Kearns was saying in our preview, a good group that it's very clear that they love each other and they like being around each other. So I think that will only pay dividends down the stretch. We played Carolina. That was that's a game. That's a game. It's a bye game. You're supposed to do what you did. You double them up, and that's fine. You're not going to pull a lot out of that. But I would say on Sunday afternoon, on the 9th, I was a little bit more impressed with the defense than I thought I was going to be. I thought Central would kind of give us a good game, but we really kind of discouraged them all afternoon. It was a little bit closer in the second half, and they chipped away a little bit. But man, we kind of asserted our dominance, in the first half, 38-18. And I was like, kind of, it's kind of hard to get super excited, right? You're like, I really want to be, super stoked about this. And Central had played coming in. They had played Virginia, I think, and played NC State, and they lost to Virginia by 21 or 22 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I think State beat them by 50. So you kind of temper your expectations. Do we know what NC State is? Do we know what Virginia is? We know who their coaches are, but where are we going with that? But I thought it was a real team effort on Sunday afternoon. I don't think there was one person. It's like, man, this is the guy who's going to carry us. I think everyone chipped in quite a bit and did their part. And I just think that Central was totally overwhelmed with our defense for the majority of the game. The second half, obviously, I think we ran that lead out to 30 at one point or something close to that. And you can only do so much. Yeah. But it was a wire-to-wire lead. So you'll take that anytime, and I think that's probably going to be a good win at some point. I think Central is not bad; they'll probably contend for their conference. But I was impressed. But tonight against Ohio State, we've talked about this a little bit. There's not even a write up yet because it literally went final an hour ago.
Yeah,
and we ran out really well. We were up 22-10, 25-15, and then it was like somebody flipped the switch on the Zebras, and that was it. So you can look at some things and say we lost by 22 to a team that likes to play fast. We kept them below their early on season average of points, but they did take care of us in that second half in the last 8 or so minutes of the first half.
Yeah.
They were able to shoot. They got 32 free throw attempts.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they made 24 of them. So when a team has a 19-point advantage on made free throws, and you lose by 22, it feels like maybe you had a chance a little bit. But we got it's not that they got the attempts. It's also that like the people that fouled on our team were the ones that we needed to depend on. Like Alonzo Dodd didn't score, played 18 minutes. He was in foul trouble. Aaron Banks scored 4 points, ended up with 4 fouls. Even Casey Jennings had 3 fouls. It's just the wrong dudes, right? Like it was a lot of our guards, and we're not deep there as it is. I actually think we played pretty well considering, but where we got that offense in the first half was that it came from people you weren't expecting it to come from. And that was not going to maintain itself, right?
Yeah.
Like you had Andren hitting a couple threes and things of that nature. But, when you really look at it, like the thing that sticks out in this box score is we turned the ball over a lot in the second half. But, man, they got that advantage at the free throw line. And like we don't foul a lot. Kearns doesn't teach this team to foul and play defense like that. We're supposed to stay on the floor, don't contest. And 25 player fouls is a lot in a game like this. And I heard I didn't buy the game. I think you did. You were able to watch it.
I did. Yeah, I did. I watched it.
It's a video, but I heard there was a lot of, from you and some others that like some commentary about not much on that foul there and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. We went to Ohio to go lose, and we lost, and they got what they wanted, and everybody in Columbus goes, I'm happy, except us.
It's kind of like I'm kind of reminded because Kearns was freaking out on the sidelines a little bit, and I know, look, make no mistake, we didn't lose that game because of the referees, but it is disheartening for those that watch the game. It's disheartening to see the team that is chipping away. Like we weren't blowing the doors off them. I mean, really, we were in that game for the most part because we were kind of the gnat in their face a little bit, and they weren't shooting well. They were missing a lot of shots. Their percentages were really bad in the first 10 minutes of the game for sure, and that's probably the number one reason why we were up. However, when they start blowing that whistle with like at around the 10-minute mark or whatever, and they start blowing it, and you're like, and you just see our guys kind of like looking around like, that's not whatever, and you could just see that changes a little bit of the body language and how aggressive you want to be, and it sucks, like because what the deal is. Like they're like, hey, you guys have had your fun or whatever, but like you came up here to play, not to win, right? And that sucks. Like I don't care. Yes, Ohio State was a better team. I get it. I don't know, man. I don't like some of that stuff. No one does, but it kind of reminded me though about when we played the NIT and some of those egregious, just no calls. CJ Huntley getting Scorpion death dropped right there under the basket and with no foul, and in Kearns saying, "Hey, this wasn't a pay game. Like they didn't pay us to come here. Like we were invited here. Like and I just thought I was just kind of got flashbacks. Like, hey, when you play a game like that, it's just you play perfect, they play terrible. That's how you win. If you don't play perfect and they don't play terrible the whole game, then it's going to be really tough. So, I tell you what I really liked. I really liked seeing, Jason Clark had he in the last few games driving to the basket. He's got a little floater shot, a little Donovan Gregory floater shot, that he's, I like that. And, Kern said that he thinks the game has slowed down for him a little bit. He'll, maybe adapt a little bit like Terrence Harkham did. I don't think we see all that right now. Maybe he's not the outside shooter that Terrence was, but I like his energy, I'm a little biased about Andren. Andren sat with us at the tip-off dinner 2 years ago, and he was really cool, and he was really nice to my son. So I'm a little biased, but I think Andren looks really, really good. I tell you, he didn't look great against Central Michigan. He kind of like looked lost a little bit, but I think he looked really good tonight. I thought he looked really good against Central. I thought Chad Moody played really well against Central. Thought he looked pretty smooth. I don't know. We'll see. We need to get through November, right, and just get some basketball under us and see what's going on. But Michael Marcus Jr. had he taken another 3-point shot tonight, I probably would have turned the TV off. But he did end up making one, I guess.
But that's what kind of got us, him and Andrew hitting some threes, and it kind of it felt like that was part of the game plan. Honestly, listening to Matt President is like, hey, they feel like they have an opportunity there, so we want to knock those down or something to that effect. But we'll see. We got several days off, after playing 4 games in
a week,
9 nights. We'll go to Dartmouth on Sunday this week, and we'll see what happens. And we'll talk before about that one game since then, and see where we go. Head into a couple of home games against Charlotte and Elon after that.
We'll do it. Is there anything else on the Olympic sports front that we need to cover?
Man, that's a lot. I feel like we hit a lot of things.
I think we did.
I think we hit them.
So we are going to move on from Olympic sports and get into the hashtag BGP Mail Satchel. Like I said, we do not have a special guest, but our special guest sponsor is Mountaineer Mania. And they're great. 497 West King Street. Check them out. Been there for 45 years. And it is still hoodie season. It's always going to be hoodie season. And they got the cool Mountaineer Mania mascot guy. I'm looking on the Instagram post here. That's such a cool logo. So get all your fashionable items, your hoodies, your pullovers, your hats, all your winter items. And the reason you want to do that, this is a store owned by Appalachian alumni, and all your not all the proceeds, but proceeds from all of your purchase, how about that, will go directly to Appalachian State Sports. That's pretty awesome. So go check them out, go buy your gear. And I've had some people text me about Mountaineer Mania here in the last week, and go check them out. And then also hashtag BGP Mail Satchel, sponsored by Blue Deer Cookie, downtown Boone, downtown Blowing Rock, and in West Jefferson. I've got more texts and comments about Blue Deer this year than I ever have. So people are eating it up. How it's going to work, folks, is we're going to pick the best submission this week that we like, and whoever wins gets a Blue Deer ice cream cookie sandwich. And that's what we're going to do. So let's dive right in. We actually have an email. And I actually want to call somebody out here. Let me see. Let me go to the satchel. So I want to shout out Brian Calloway. So Brian has emailed us a couple times. But what happens is he emails like the day of the game that we just played. And you know how we do post games, Charles. We don't read submissions or feedback. So Brian, I appreciate you emailing, and I probably should just respond to you via email. But if you guys are going to submit a question or whatever, we try not to. I know we're always going to end up overlapping and bringing stuff up that we talked about in the post game. That always happens. We can't avoid it, but we try not to be too specific about talking about things that happen in the game, like this play call on this, unless it's really unique. But we do have an email from Cody Hamby. AJ and Charles, injuries and mysterious reasons why players are no longer on the team aside. Is mysterious injuries. Is this JMU matchup going to be Boise 2.0, or has the team positively progressed? drowning in the Seattle rain in tears, watching this team find lifeless ways to lose. God, this is so depressing. We're gonna just have grunge music playing in the background during this question, I guess. Boise 2.0. No, I reject that. I think every game is a game unto itself. Every game has different dynamics. Coach Loggins did mention in his press conference, though, that he thinks JMU is like basically as good as Boise. His words. I don't know. It's going to be tough. It'll be a tough game. Charles?
I think that's, on paper it's a tough game, but at what point does JMU kind of exercise their demons against us across several sports? When do they have that mess up, right? When are they going to have the game that knocks them out of all the other things that people are talking about? Because as soon as you get ranked, right, you start thinking about stuff. And what's the history of the Sun Belt shown? Over the course of the years that we've been here, all it takes is for somebody to get ranked.
And then you lose.
It's happened to us, and it's happened to Troy, and it's happened to Arkansas State, and it happened to them too. It's happened to Coastal, that it bites you, right?
Yeah.
And you start thinking about what? More than just the next game. More than just the Sun Belt Championship and bigger aspirations. And what better bunch would it could happen to? I'm not saying that, talent-wise, that, we can't move the ball. I think that we've shown we have offense. We can move the ball, but I think we've also shown that we make mistakes at the worst times. And against good teams, you can't do that. So if we're capable of not making the worst mistakes at the wrong time, then we're capable of beating them. I really don't think anybody gave us a chance 2 years ago when we went up there, honestly.
Nope.
I don't think anyone did.
Nope.
And somehow it happened.
Yep.
We played an ugly game. We played a slow game. And it worked. I don't know if the way our offense is set up this year, if we have that same type of way of playing with them. I don't know if our defense can compete the same way. But the formula is no different. You have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of that ball. You got to limit big plays. And you got to make the game slow. And you got to make it boring. And that was the recipe 2 years ago, and it worked. And I think that's what we got to do again. I don't think it's over. It's like, should I even turn it on? Absolutely. Right. You absolutely should turn it on.
Mm-hmm.
Don't find something else to do. You never know what could happen, because as much as we've let some get away from us and we have been close. When do you get over that hump? And if we're rooting for App State football, we're rooting for them to get over that hump, right? At some point. Yeah. And why not us? Why not this weekend? Why not give us that, and like Dow likes to say, and like the NFL people like to talk about, is it's not, that we had a good year this year. It didn't just click in the offseason. It clicked at the end of the previous year. And those people were figuring something out. And so there's been many examples in the NFL where like people they start 2-8, and then they win like 4 of their last 6. And it's like, hey, we kind of figured something out, So this could be the springboard. Any game this year could be the springboard into next year. And that's what I'm hoping for.
And then you hope that the components that helped you spring stay around. Yeah. What's it? So I want to comment on the lifeless. He just said, we find lifeless ways to lose. Here recently, I think the opposite is true, because certainly the fire kind of came on late, and that's kind of frustrating to me. Is if you played like that, then play like that first, right? I mean, you got to get there, and so I've just, that's one of the things that I'm still That was my criticism or my feedback on Sunday. The post game was, we don't have an identity, and it does come from the top. And in my hope is that Coach Loggins would embrace that kind of like tribal chief thing, and he's not a CEO. Like a college, Appalachian State University is never going to have a slick corporate run like pro organization. It just will never happen. It needs to be what it is, right? It needs to be what it is, what makes it special, and there might be another opportunity to bring this point up in next questions, maybe, I don't know. But I thought Coach Loggins, again, he has great press conferences. I mean, he talks about a lot of stuff. But he mentioned something, and I'm not sure how much we want to take from this, Charles. I'd like to know your thoughts. But in talking about JMU in their offense, and specifically their run game, he said that you see Coach Chesney's personality in their run game. I thought that was interesting. Like, you see the head coach's personality. That kind of like made me think of what I said on Sunday, which is, the tone is set at the top and it kind of flows through the players. The players know how to play. They didn't forget how to play. They work hard. They're cracking heads in practice. But, leadership matters. And I just wonder, like, what Coach Loggins, like, depending on what he meant by that, I wonder if he would say, like, what part of our offense does his personality come out, right? And what elements? How would he define that? I don't know. What did you notice that? Did you hear that? What do you think of that, Charles?
I mean, I heard that, but I don't know if I understand the concept. But like, it seems that Dow knows Chesney, and I don't know him, right? So it seems like something that maybe for you, like you and I, it's hard to kind of like grasp that. But I do think it's pretty evident, and it's been evident since our first game, what Dow's personality is as far as calling an offense. I mean, it's going to be a lot of throwing the ball. It's going to be, he said it. Like, we want to run late. We want to run late to win. And I don't know if that's a personality or if that's a scheme or a strategy.
Yeah.
But I think when you decide, we're going to be a team that does X, Y, Z, then, and some of that's game script to an extent. But even in the game where even against Georgia State, we didn't run the ball a lot. Like with all their injuries, but he was worried about their athleticism, up front. So we attacked something else. So I think, you see a lot more game planning and maybe to an extent some overthinking with someone who is still kind of adjusting to being in college versus, a guy who's been a career college coach.
Yeah. See, I think, we think of the Scott Satterfield years of that inside zone, kind of the parade of elephants, just kind of like 5 yards here, 4 yards here, 6 yards here, and then play action. And that was kind of like, that's how he did it. I'm going to attack you. I'm going to send these linemen, these tight ends rumbling towards you, and there's nothing you do about it. And I think with Coach Loggins, to your point, I hadn't thought about that. Like, it's almost like he wants to, to slice and gash you to death. I want to wear you out. I want to make you run around and chase me, right? And that's what I'm kind of saying. Like, I want, and I think health this year has been a big deal with some, an unhealthy offensive line has maybe limited what we want to do ultimately. I think that's actually certainly the case, but it was really interesting. Cal the Mountaineer, formerly the Notorious Near, a great follow, by the way, on X, I think. Says, even though the matchups with the Dukes have been competitive, this JMU team seems really scary. What are both of your keys to the game for giving us a snowball's chance in hell? Pun intended. I don't understand. Is Harrison Big hell?
I think you
just
can
snowballs.
Say that. They were mad. They were mad last year about throwing snowballs.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
They're trying to invent some like we stomped on their pizzas and ran the goalpost through their bus kind of thing. Like they
Oh, it's great.
um,
That made me happy just to remember that. I can't believe I forgot that. Oh my god.
that was like the wispiest of snows too. It wasn't heavy. It wasn't wet. Like you're throwing
That's what.
dust out there. Like come
Yeah.
on, just like it
That.
was today in Boone. Like stuff is blowing off. There's no reason to defrost your windshield.
Yeah.
Just
I
drive down the
think that.
road a little bit. It'll blow away.
I think that was the best part is seeing all the people freak out because you really don't know. I mean, you kind of do when you see it like disintegrate as soon as it like
Yeah,
touches the helmet. You know it's light, but if you're looking from a distance or whatever, I mean, snowballs can't. I mean, you get the right snowball, the right snow, it can absolutely hurt. It can absolutely damage you.
100%. It is.
But
Yeah,
that day, there wasn't anything happen. I mean, you couldn't have knocked over a cup of Gatorade with that snow, but that was hilarious. Wow. So my
uh,
keys, I
yeah.
think what you said, Charles, I think taking care of what we can do and executing on our end, um, mostly taking care of the football and playing with some juice. I think I know you can't quantify juice, but if we're gonna get technical, play to our strengths and just trust that taking care of ourselves and doing what we think we could do really really well. I'm talking more on the offensive side. On the defensive side, again, I've said this all year. I think we do a pretty good job getting to where the ball is, but we have not done a great job tackling recently. We just haven't. I think we got to tackle and then execute on offense and don't turn the freaking ball over. Like that is such the demoralizing just feeling of seeing that ball taken away like at the 5-yard line in the end zone is just the worst. So I think that's what we got to do. Take care of ourselves and tackle better. Tackling better has got to happen against a team like
Yeah,
this.
and we got to limit their run game. We cannot let that guy run. He is strong. The rest of our running back is strong, and he is fast, and he gets to places quickly. That's going to be an emphasis. I don't think there's something that we could sit there and say like, hey, you know what, we should really utilize XYZ. Like we know what we have. Like, if it's AJ Swan starting, he's going to be looking for Jaden Barnes, right? And so, as much as you don't want Jaden Barnes to have 13 catches every week. Like that does move the ball, but is the path to victory? Who knows? Like we need to do a lot of things well to give ourselves a chance and do things in a manner that we haven't done the previous 9 games this year.
Yeah, I agree. This is MJMNC. JMU seems to have figured out the new NIL space, and as much as any Sunbelt team has, what are they doing that we can learn from? What should we be doing now that we are not? Charles, what do you think?
Are we going to double our student fees? Is that what we're going to do? I mean, that's part of how it that works up there. I don't think that's what we want to do. But yeah, they have figured that out somehow, and they're in this like weird spot. Right, I think they attract people from the Ohio region and from the Mid-Atlantic area, and then also some from the South. Whereas I don't know that we've always been so attractive to those areas as they are, and we primarily recruit from certain areas. But then again, they've shown with other coaches that you can come here and win, and it it goes from one coach to the next, and you've got there's a lot of people who played for Holy Cross that are on JMU's team that came with Chesney, and you see the same thing with Signetti. Took a lot of JMU people to Indiana, and they're winning. So I don't know if it's as much as NIL, as much as like they know what they need, they know what makes them play well, and they go and get it. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they're paying them all. It just means they know how to identify the players they want.
Man, I tell you, so Kern said this in our preview. He talked about fit, right? What's the right fit? And I don't know, man. I mean, Mike Houston was at JMU and all he did was win. And then they hired Signetti and all he did was win. And then Chesney, all he's doing is winning. I mean, you talk about that's who we. I mean, when the time comes, we need to make it higher, regardless of what sport. But you want to model it after who's the right fit for this place right now.
They went and got two guys that were basically unheard of.
Yeah.
Right. From FCS ranks. And Bob Chesney, it'll be a miracle if he is not coaching James Madison next year.
Yeah.
I mean, he is going to be coaching somebody else next year.
Yeah, he is.
It's a very high likelihood.
Yeah, to our benefit.
So they know how to get those guys, and now it's a proven stepping stone.
Yeah.
Whereas that was what we were 7 years ago.
I think that I'll just say, oh, man, I'm going to get on my friggin' soapbox. It seems to me, and I'm not a JMU person, thank God. God has blessed me with that, not being a JMU person. But it seems to me, from what I can tell from JMU, is that they are very comfortable with who they are, and they embrace it. And I feel like sometimes Appalachian is not. And like we're trying to be something else. I think that's clear with the move to promote the professional development. Now we're going to treat this like a business. That is simply not going to work. Like if we're going to win, and I'm not saying Coach Loggins can't win. I'm just saying that mentality of let's just break this all down, be analytical, and act like professionals, treat these kids like NFL players. That's not going to work. That is not going to work at Appalachian State. That doesn't hardly work anywhere in the college.
I don't think it's going to work.
Yeah. But I think just embracing who you are and in turning that up to 11 is what we need to do more of. When we're not doing it, we should stop. We should stop trying to pretend that we're not who we are. And Sherry didn't live in Boone. Old Sherry Everts, she didn't even live in Boone. And I think, again, we talk about leadership trickling down, right? Like I mentioned that. Like I think the tone is set from the top. I think that 10 years of Sherry, of her just not wanting to be Appalachian State, not wanting to be some small mountain town school, trying to angle Appalachian State in a way that made us seem not like we are. I don't know, just culturally painting the tunnels, all that stuff. That whole energy needs to be obliterated from campus. And I feel like sometimes it's not. And we get a little too cute and we get a little too slick. And one small thing, and I will say this, that has been very encouraging to me, even though this sounds small, is Sean Connery being back has like encouraged me. I don't know, that seems like a small thing. I never thought we'd see it back, but that's like a tip of the cap of this. Little things matter, little details matter that can connect the thread of the generations. That matters. And so embrace who we are and pour gasoline on it, I think. And I know that's super vague or whatever, but it makes sense to me.
I think a lot of people who listen to this understand what you're saying. I mean, what is our backbone? What are we known for? Why are we here? It's because we were discounted at some point.
Yes.
Every last one of us was told you weren't good enough for something else.
Yep.
And so all we've done is sit here and come to this one place and say, hey, what'd they tell you when you were in high school? Wasn't good enough for something else, wasn't good enough for this. And that goes with our athletes and everything. And I think you embrace that chip on your shoulder, that blue collar, and this business-like atmosphere on a football field. I don't know if it's us. It's just,
it's not going to work.
You can take care of business, but there's part of it that needs to be just downright nasty. And that because that's what the sport is. It's about hitting people. It's about taking them to the ground. It's about imposing your will. Right. I mean, go on and on.
Jalen McLeod waited until the last hours of the portal before he left to go to Auburn. And that's because it killed him to leave. And he was like the first one that I think he was the first one to like make that step up. Jalen McLeod was. We need to be the kind of culture and environment that is just painful to leave.
Yes.
It's painful to leave. Like, I remember seeing Jalen. I know I covered this and after we talked about the 2023 Sun Belt Championship game. He was there. He wasn't taking photos. He was just there to watch his team. They're in the stands and I went up and talked to him. Like, man, I think it's awesome that you're here. Watch it. And he loves Appalachian State. He tweets about Appalachian State. Like, I haven't seen him tweet about Auburn, but he tweets about Appalachian State. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, that needs to be what this is. Guys are going to leave now, and I hate that they're going to leave, but it needs to hurt to leave. And I think we need to find our roots. Basically, is what I'm saying. We need to. Yeah,
we know what they are. You and I know what they are.
Yeah. Yeah. And I said this at the beginning of the season too. Like, we have swung too far towards the I have a suite and I sit in the club level and I don't want to watch the game. Like, we have swung too far that way. You need those people. We need their money. And there's some people that are those type of people. They listen to this show and they're like, "Hey, I listen to I watched the game. Okay." Again, I'm not trying to like sniper shot each person, but the tone and the feeling of what connects people and makes people feel enthusiastic about this program, I think we have tilted way too far one way. That is about it's too corporate. And there needs to be a healthier balance. We need our roots. And there's some people listening to that going like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's like, okay, that's fine. But a lot of people know what I'm talking about. Like you just said. This is from David Allen, CEO. How do we overcome shortcomings in NIL? I feel like business school pulls a heavy load when it comes to donations, as teachers simply don't have the extra funds to contribute as much. Does the university need to pursue attaining higher paying degrees? I don't think the university should do anything like strategically to help support football. Like, if Appalachian opens or starts an engineering program down the road because it's needed in Western North Carolina, they should do that, but they shouldn't do it because, hey, we're not paying our football team enough. I mean, it's a legitimate. I'm not trying to laugh the question off. I'm really not. But
no, but it's hard. Like, what did we just get done talking about?
Yeah,
is that who we are? Is that who we're ever going to be? Be good at what we're good at.
And from a technical perspective, like, the collectives went away. Like, I think that maybe the 3,333 or whatever it is, that collective might still be around, but I'm pretty sure like all that is in house now. And NIL stuff is being handled out of the budget. I don't think that they're recruiting people to give to NIL anymore. And if I'm being honest, I don't know how much we do spend on NIL. I know that it's more than we have ever spent ever before. I know that I know that's true. But I don't know the numbers. I really don't. But I think we got bigger fish to fry than that, to be honest with you. And again, just to not make everything doom and gloom, I really do like seeing the amount of really key, core positions being recruited out of high school right now from Coach Loggins and his staff. I really do. If he had come in here and said, no, we're just doing portal stuff, it would crush my soul. But he's not doing that. We need to bring these kids in from high school and understand that, I don't know. It's a great problem to have if we make a kid so great that Auburn comes and says, hey, man, come play for us. Like, if we're going to have problems, but if you could pick your problems, we have players so great, other people come get them and then bring the next one right behind them.
The NFL model isn't go buy free agents every year, go sign free agents, big contracts, and then you'll be an amazing team. You have to have a pipeline, and your pipeline is the draft.
Yeah.
And that's what high school recruiting is the draft.
Yeah.
Now it's not the same as you have, you have so many picks and you can acquire more and all this good stuff. Like, that's different. But like, you create the space for those players to come in from high school or junior college, right? To create, your team. So.
I'm back.
All righty.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I did.
I
I
don't.
didn't talk any.
It,
I didn't talk any.
yeah. No, I mean, it was like you were making a great point. I'm sitting there listening, and then bang, my browser is like, "Hey, you're out." I'm like, "All right, well,
Yeah, there was no
like,
warning. It was like black piece. I was like, yo, that's new.
yeah." It wasn't stuttering or buffering or anything. It was just like gone. So, anyway, so what were we talking
Uh, building a roster,
Oh,
portal
the draft,
NIL.
high
Yeah,
school draft. Yeah,
yeah. So maybe you can listen back to the last 15 seconds or so.
and I can't because we're still live. Like this didn't stop. I
Oh,
could stop it and go back. You want me to stop it, or you just want to keep going?
we can just keep going, but I guess you can splice it though, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right. So I don't know. What was the last? I think I'd made my point. Maybe you just move on to the next question, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. No. Well, what I will say is that your point about the draft, like it doesn't stop. Like there's not a place that you're successful in pro sports with simply just picking dudes, out of free agency. Like that doesn't work. And that is so, especially when, and this actually goes into this next question here from Gabius Maximus here, Gabe Jones. App's calling card has long been to do more with less. That's App State football. Does the NCAA's current NIL portal rev share system make it impossible for mid majors to do more with less anymore? I don't think. I think no. I don't think so. It makes it way harder, and it makes it. I think the impossible element here is not. Um, it's is sustainable. Can you have another Appalachian run, mid major run, where Boise run, where you're in this mid major area and you win 10 games a year for 10 years.
No,
No.
that's impossible. I think
No.
the consistency that the programs like ourselves and Boise and others have been used to will be a thing of the past. Like you may go on a 2 or 3 year run, but like you're going to have to hit on things over and over. It's not just like, hey, you get like 3 recruiting classes right in a row and you're set for 7 years. No, like like if you get 2 or 3 things right in a row, you've got to get like portal right in a row. You got to make sure your coaches don't leave. You got to make sure your players don't leave. You got to make sure you're also recruiting at a high level to backfill those spots. And like you got to make sure that those are right every single year. And that ain't always going to happen. Like that,
No.
I just and so whereas in the past you say maybe you had like 10 like good, like consistent G5 programs.
Yeah.
I think now that's probably limited to like 2 or 3, really.
And
Like
let's
to say you're a top 10 G5 program, that could mean that you went 7-5 one year,
yeah.
right? Or maybe you won instead of 50 games in 5 or 6 seasons, you won like 35 games in 5 or 6 seasons. And like,
Yeah.
but you had some really, really high marks. Like you had an 11-1, you're like, everybody's talking about you. And then you lose everybody, and then like you get it right one year, and it's like you have this like every other year thing or every couple years, and it's like, man, this is a perennial. This is a so and so.
Yeah.
But I think that makes it's going to be a lot harder.
We're going to have a year one year where we win 10 games again, and it'll feel like we're the 2000 Ravens. Like it'll feel like holy cow, like nobody can because that will be how rare or impressive that feat will be. But that's going to come with an identity, a cultural identity. That's going to come with successful high school recruiting and development and effective portal replacements for key players who leave or whatever. That all has to align, and getting all those things to align together. To your point, Charles,
it's just so many more variables now.
Yeah, more variables. That was because we've had a recruiting episode before where we talked about from 2013 to 2017, those recruiting classes were what carried, honestly, up to 2021. Like those carried all the way through 2021. And in 2018, when recruiting classes started going down, Sat's last 2 classes, Drink's class, and then honestly, the first couple classes from Sean Clark, like they were not producing the same playmakers at that percentage. Like 2018 had Cooper Hodges and Henry Pearson. Well, and Nick Hampton. Those are stud players. They're great players, but you need half of those players or whatever the percentage needs to be on-field contributors like that are at least good. Some of them need to be great, but some of them they need to be good. You can't just have 5 be really good.
No,
10, a dozen need to be really good.
And they need to be like multi-year starters, like 2 solid years. And every now and then you threw in like this dude is going to be a baller from the day he steps on the field. Whenever that chance happens, whether it's late in his freshman year, early his sophomore year, there aren't going to be DJ Smiths, who are starting like game 7 of a true freshman year at middle linebacker. And then there's not going to be Armani Edwards.
No.
Like, hey, somebody got hurt last week, so we're going to start this guy. We don't know what he can do, but we got a feeling, right?
Yeah. And that's a shame because that really was what Gabe's talking about. That really is what made you show how good you were as a program. Was we put our work in on the ground, and when they got here, we developed them, and look how great we are. That didn't require money or whatever. That just we're better than you at recruiting and playing football. Now these other elements in there kind of marginalize that, which is a bummer. But not impossible. We need to get the pieces right. Impossible to sustain. Walter Johnson, no relation. Men's basketball question. It feels like the team is shooting more threes than they should. They've attempted around 27 per game and are only hitting about 30% of them. Should the team focus more on attacking the paint or continue to do what they're doing. I don't think that we have. I don't know, Charles. What do you think about that? Because I mean, we gotta play to our strengths, similar to what we were talking about in football. You got to play to your strengths, and to his point is, well, our strength is not shooting threes, but throwing it inside of the big man. I don't know if necessarily we have that kind of game either.
I don't think anybody really has that kind of game anymore. It's
Yeah,
college game has now been turned into the pro game, where if you're not scoring right at the bucket, you're shooting, from 23-9.
yeah,
I think it's the formula, and I think I've gone into this, and I don't want to go too crazy in this of what a typical like Kearns games looks like. If he had to make things perfect, it's expect to get like 10 or 12 2-pointers made, right? Like, so that's going to make up 20 to 24, 26 points.
yeah,
Get some free throws made. Let's say you make 10 free throws. So there's going to get you another 10 points. So you're at what? 30 to 34, something like that. And then if you can knock down like 9 threes a game, that's 27. So you're talking about you're in the 60s, and he trusts his defense enough to hold teams to certain numbers. So like you playing like what you did with North Carolina Central, right? If we're going to give up 80 to a team, then we need to be more on fire. And this is a possession game. I think this comes down to like, what is the math to get to the number that you need? So like if we have a game where we shoot like 33s and we hit 5 of them, that's not a good percentage. That's like 18% if I'm doing my math right. Not good. You're not going to win games like that. But if you shoot 27 threes and you make 9, that's 27 points. Maybe you hit 10, maybe you hit 11. That's 30. That's 33 points. That could be like half your total of the points you need to score in a game with how you center your defense around what you want other teams to do and to make them uncomfortable. And, if we have a bad defensive game, then you can blow that all out the water. But I think that's kind of our formula. So I don't think anymore there is people really are too concerned about percentages as much as there are the volume. So, when you hit a 3, it's possession and a half, right, of an average possession, right? So you're scoring 1 more point than you're scoring 2 points. And so you don't need to have as many, 2s made if you're hitting 3s. I don't know if this is coming through and making sense. I don't know if it'll sound great in the car
this is
or at the desk or whatever.
This
It's like,
yeah,
if we shoot 43s in a game, that's crazy.
yeah.
But like everybody is shooting 20 some plus threes a game. Like, what was it? I mean, Ohio State came out tonight, and I think they missed their first 9 or 10 threes.
Yeah.
They didn't stop shooting them.
They were 2 of 16 in the first half.
There you go. They didn't stop shooting them, did they? What were they in the second half, AJ?
Ooh, 5 and 11. So
what would they shoot? They shoot 27 threes and they hit 7.
Yep.
It just
7.
It
Turns out that they hit 7. Yeah.
That's a volume game. That's not great, but when you get to the free throw line 32 times and you hit 24, that makes up for a lot of those missed threes, doesn't it?
Yeah. This is how Kearns thinks, by the way. You don't think he's breaking down this stuff? I mean, he talked about wanting to increase number of possessions this year, right? I mean, he's thinking that way. He's thinking in a formulaic way. Not saying that you're like a college basketball coach, Charles, but you kind of are. We're running out Twitter here. Have you ever heard, this is from James Milner, putting his name out there. This is quite bold. Have you ever heard D'Lo use the words App State in a positive way? A sense of pride and accountability as head coach would go a long way right now. I mean, yes, I have. But what I will say, I think what he's getting at, Coach Loggins should stop talking about the NFL and he should stop talking about South Carolina and making references just kind of, oh, of course, we all understand the SEC is the best. He should stop doing that. It doesn't make him look good. It's annoying. I think he wildly overestimates how overestimates how many people care about South Carolina. I don't think it's not helping. And even a comment like, well, Isaiah Cummings would have started at South Carolina. Don't care.
It
Don't
doesn't.
care.
Doesn't. It does not
Don't
affect
care.
what happens at App State this year
Yeah, don't care. I don't care
or next
because
year.
that's what he's saying is, hey, he's good enough to be somewhere else. Like that, like their words matter.
Hmm.
You know, like college football is college sports, but especially college football. It is a crazy, irrational, emotional sport. Like read the room. Don't care.
AJ, I hate to say this. I probably shouldn't. But
Then you definitely should.
the you know the song Roxanne.
Yeah, the police.
Yeah, you know how many times they say the word Roxanne in that song?
No.
It's a ton.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's a lot.
And I don't know if you were in a place in college and where people may have played a drinking game to that,
Yeah.
where or watched the movie, and if they made a reference to certain things, they played like a drinking game. Like, all right, take a
Yes.
sip. Like some people play
Yeah.
cards and do all this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
beer pong, etc., whatever.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a challenge. Like anytime, like, and we've mentioned this, like
Yeah.
people have made reference to this in previous
100%.
special questions about 93 years of NFL coaching experience. It's almost like a mockery.
Yeah, it's a meme.
Badly.
Everybody's
Yeah,
talking about it.
exactly. So, like, I've had someone mention this to me, like, when he goes through a press conference, he goes through Mountaineer Talk, and anytime he mentions a previous school, a previous player, a previous job, a previous profession, whatever.
Yeah.
That it reminds them of something like that.
Yeah.
And I think this is where that's coming from.
Yeah.
And I kind of see it. And don't necessarily love it.
Yeah. Well, I just said, and James just said, and you're alluding to as well, what everybody's talking about. I mean, it's an ongoing conversation that App fans are having about, all right, SEC, Bill Parcells, and that's all great. Like in and of itself in a silo, those are fine things, but the identity needs to not be like when the NFL organizations will be like, hey, we interviewed John Smith to be our head coach today, that's a very NFL thing to do. A college would never do that.
Right.
A college would never do that. That's fine for the NFL. But like now you're here and now you need to do these weird ritualistic, weird cultural things now. You need to do it. Stop talking about South Carolina. Stop talking about all this other stuff. You know what? It wouldn't even be that bad if like it was also paired with the internal like rah-rah stuff for Appalachian. And he's not been here full year. Like I get it. Like he's got to build some memories up himself, but like just from a strategic standpoint, just this, Isaiah Cummings, he would have started at South Carolina. I don't care, dude. I don't care, man. I don't care. He's an awesome player, and we loved watching him play. I hate that he got hurt, but don't care that he could have started at South Carolina. Like that is saying out loud, South Carolina is better than Appalachian State. And this is how good he is. One of our players could have played at a better place. Like we all know that. We all know that there are better, quote unquote, better. We know that. But like have this weird, be weird with us and not like we are the best. Be weird with us. I think that's it.
All right. From the in the satchel from the BGP 333 Club on Facebook, Nick Gord. We've sold out our season tickets for 4 straight years, which I think is like 11,000 tickets. How much danger is that streak in?
Lots of danger.
And it depends on how we finish, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's in lots of danger. I don't necessarily, I will say follow up with that. I mean, I don't live and breathe on that record. Like, okay, if you don't want to be at App State games, like don't go. Right? Like don't go then don't buy your tickets and go somewhere else. But I mean, this is just a math problem. You don't play well. You lose games. You. I think what was it? The stat was a couple weeks ago. I think it's the same. I don't think we have beaten an opponent that has beaten an FBS school, except I think Oregon State beat Washington State. So I think that finally one of our
Yes, that
wins.
finally happened.
One of our wins. So we.
And then they lost to Sam Houston State, and they fired the interim coach. So now they're on their second interim coach.
So yeah, that doesn't mean this. That doesn't mean the sky's falling. It just means that people are not going to. They're not going to, because most of our alumni are more than 2 hours away. And they're. I'm not saying I'm going to do it. I'm not saying I'm not going to re-up my seat tickets. I will. I know where my tickets will be next year.
Same. Jeff Turner, with the Alumni Association canceling their tailgate at JMU, and many so-called fans not going to the game, how do we come back to what David Jackson said and give a Mountaineer a chance and get everyone behind our all Mountaineers through the wins and losses? I'll say this: I did not know that happened.
I didn't either.
And that is tough. That is tough.
That kind of goes with what Nick just asked.
Right.
Hey,
that is hard to hear.
Jeff Turner, I don't remember him being in the Satchel before. He gets a sandwich. I like when new people pop in.
Yes, absolutely.
Jeff, message me your address. I'm going to send you one.
So how do we get back there? I guess we just win. I mean,
that is how you do it.
That's how it happens.
And by the way, can I say this too? Can I say this just real quick? If we were, so were we 4-5? If we were 9-0 or 8-1 right now, D'Lo could talk about.
He can talk about whatever he wanted.
He can say whatever he wants. That's how it goes. That's just the irrational, crazy thing about sports and college sports. Like, know thyself, right? Like, but we're not. We're a really bad football team, and I don't think it's his fault that we're a bad team. But like, you need to read the room on how you say things.
John Bowman, with all the P5 head coach firings so early during the season this year, are we going to see a trend where top talent P5 coordinators start turning down G5 head coaching jobs just to stay where they are?
100%.
Are factors 100%. Like, yeah, it's happened already. Are factors like annual P5 poaching of player talent for all G5 programs, the expedited expectations to win instantly in the portal era, when it is nearly impossible to build a culture from one season to the next, and the ever-widening difference in P5, G5 resources, making it less and less attractive for young coaching talent to want to take a chance on leading G5 programs if they already have their foot in the door at the P5 level. I really don't think it comes down to so much of title. Like Kane Womack from South Alabama was like, I'm out of here, dude. I'm going to make double amount of my amount of pay. I'm going to have less responsibility, and I'm going to do this. So I think there in coaching ranks, there are people who just know that I am not cut out to be the guy. I don't want to be the guy.
The job description of a G6 head coach is ridiculous.
Like, and it's not the same as a P5 head coach.
It's ridiculous what these guys. It is such a hard job. Like, I know for a fact that Coach Loggins is burning the midnight oil. I know he's basically living at that facility. I know he is. It is an excruciatingly hard job. There are less dudes out there that want this job than there was 5 years ago, right? There were people that would cut people's throats to have the Appalachian job. There's still that would do that. Make no mistake about it. But if you are in a prime seat, a coordinator seat at a good school or whatever, you are thinking twice about going somewhere where you are not sure that you could build that resume. Coach Loggins rolled the dice and said, I'm a coordinator in the SEC. I'm going to come down here to win and see where that takes me. And that was a coordinated risk that he took. And he's in the middle of it, and he's working to try to make it work for him. But
Gus Malzahn took a risk. He went down to come back up. Like, some people have done this, and they whether it's less responsibilities or less money, is it really about like being the guy or being a guy and having that once in a lifetime chance to have your 5 or 6 year tenure at a P5 school head coach or go to the NFL and be a head coach? Is that like what people want anymore? Or do people actually want, I mean, look, you know, you can talk about the James Franklins and Brian Kellys and Billy Napiers and Hugh Freezes and all these big buyouts. Like
Yeah.
that ain't happening to everybody, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Some dudes need to look like, although they all get paid well, they also move around a lot. And that comes with lots of things. And you can't get the same house in David Jackson's Colby as you can in yours and ours at Boone. Sorry, I had to do it.
That's great. He deserves every bit of that. That's great.
Yeah.
David Jackson.
There are other examples like that.
Jackson
Like,
County for a reason.
no offense to our listeners in Jackson, Swain, Transylvania, Polk, and all those others. We love you the same.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
there is like, you know, you need more things to go to some places. I'm sure when Eli Drinkwitz moved from Raleigh to Boone, he thought he could probably get a lot more house, and then he found out I cannot.
Yeah.
You know?
But also there's the competitor element too. These coaches are competitors. And I think now, since the calculus has changed, I think they're measuring more than they used to. This isn't just I'm just going to take this job and I'm going to work harder than everybody else. I'm going to get the next job. It's just not like that anymore. You know,
I think there are people who are taking less risk with future income.
Or maybe they're taking the same amount of risk that they were willing to, but then that leap became riskier and it outpaced what risk they were willing to take.
Mm-hmm.
And would Coach Drinkwitz be the kind of guy like Loggins in this era to still make that jump? Maybe. I don't know. He seems like the kind of guy that would do it, but these guys are ambitious. Like they want to, they are, you know, Jeff Crum said it the best. They are tinkerers. They want to tinker and figure out, can I make this work? Can I implement this system that I believe in, what I know and my skills? Can I lead a group of coaches? Can we do this? And because they are they're not robots, you know, they're not. They want to make it work worse than the players. They really do. Like this is their livelihood. But now it's like Coach Loggins' success at Appalachian will be less tied to his direct effort than it ever has been in the past.
Right. Yeah.
That's a huge risk that he took, which I hope it works.
J. Neal, this is a slightly dated post to an extent, but we'll start with the first part. I have to apologize to the App State fan base. Apparently, I'm paying some cosmic price of football fandom this season, as both my teams have vastly underperformed and are getting worse and not better. Both App and Green Bay are devolving into unwatchable football. Tough night if you're a fantasy football guy. I needed points watching in Monday Night Football last night. There were 17 whole ones scored. And then, of course, they lost to the Panthers, so not real. I'm sure Jay Neal is feeling awesome. And then second, and I guess he's not really asking a question. He is here. Depending on when you record tonight, which is now, we're a 24.5-point underdog to Ohio State. It's early in the season, but does covering the spread or having a good show against the Buckeyes mean anything, even if it's a loss?
We beat the spread.
No, we covered the spread. It went from 25.5 down to 23.5. But did it make you feel good about it? No.
No, it didn't.
Nathan Rector, with the current state of the program and the revolving talking points most fans have engaged in this season, I pose a hypothetical, one of my favorites. Would you rather have a team culture that wins consistently and earns a playoff spot and a fair shot at the CFP, but loses its traditions along the way? Or would you rather have a culture that stays true to its traditions, but the best you can finish with is a Sun Belt championship and a mediocre bowl selection? So, do you just want to win? Do you just want to win and have a great shot at the biggest possible goal we could have with even the slightest chance of that happening? Or would you almost want to be like I'm going to phrase this terribly, like you were back in FCS, you went 8-4, 9-3, you made it to the playoffs. You didn't win every year, but you felt like, hey, we did pretty good. Wasn't a bad year overall. Or go 8-4 and make a bowl game, beat somebody 2/3 of the time, and say, you know what a good season. And then you get to, have Sean Connery and the band play, and Mountaineer Walk isn't just a trot down the hill.
A boxcar race.
Yeah.
I reject the premise. I don't think we can. I don't think we can reach our highest highs without the roots. I don't think where we are geographically, where we are, I think what makes us why we're fans and why this little school in the Blue Ridge Mountains got 20,000 students, that's 80 miles from the nearest city that's got 100,000 people in it. Why we've been able to rack up memories and moments that other programs across the country would kill for is because there's something about it. And to say that we can reach those highs that we've been to or whatever, but all the stuff that got us to what we have now just doesn't exist. I just don't. That's like, to me, a little bit. I understand what Nathan's asking, but it's a little bit like saying, what if you could jump in a pool and not get wet? Like it's weird. I don't think we can do it. I don't think that we will experience wild success unless we get back to the roots. It's kind of been the theme of the episode, I think. But
I don't know why this has popped in my head, but and it may not make any sense, but here we are. Would you rather be the 1990s Charlotte Hornets, a fan of the 1990s Charlotte Hornets, or a fan of like the 2015 and present Charlotte Hornets?
Oh, I mean, I'm the wrong person. Maybe I don't know. What help me understand why, like, what you're.
Because I think everybody, because like I feel like there was a divide, right? Like for a time being, like the Charlotte Hornets didn't exist. Like it was the Charlotte Bobcats.
Yeah.
And then we got the Hornets back.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Browns. Like
yeah.
Like there were the Browns, but there was something else in between. Were you a Baltimore Ravens fan? No.
Yeah.
I think there's nostalgia in the 90s Hornets. And I think there were some traditions, and I think there were some crazy moments, and there were players you could get behind who stuck around for a while. And I think now, like the current level of the NBA is maybe less of that. And maybe I'm not as big of an NBA fan as I was when I was 13, 14 years old.
There certainly was more engagement.
Sure.
And enthusiasm.
Right. And like energy and et cetera. I think we all fell in love with a different type of App State football.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a different environment. And now we're asking ourselves, do we want to fall in love with something else? And
yeah, but also I think I go back to, those recruiting banquets that we used to go to, and Coach Satterfield would say every year, God, they should have those again. That was just slam dunk.
Look at it. I mean, think about it.
Yeah,
that was engagement.
I know. I know.
Nostalgia.
But that's what I'm talking about.
10 years ago.
I know. That's what I'm talking. That's like that to me. That's shooting fish in a barrel. And whatever. Oh, that's another soapbox. But because I know that was presented to do again. Anyway, whatever. I'll get back to. Anyway, Coach Satterfield would say that you're only going to be successful with kids that want to be here and like it here. And they say, no, I like it here. And that's not everybody. You're not going to get. Not everybody will like living and being in Boone, a football player in Boone. Or it's just how it is. You need a bunch of those kids that want to be up here and like it up here, who buy in to the whole punching up. Someone told us, like Thomas Hennigan, the guy that is helping out with wide receivers right now, that older coach that was at Wake Forest forever, I can't remember his name. He's on staff now. You remember?
Pat
Like,
Washington. No, talking about
no,
now.
the coach. No, it's one of these guys that was hired in like May, like one of these assistants. One of the well, I don't think he's an NFL guy. I'm gonna look him up real quick because he is from the he's helping out Kevin Higgins.
Oh,
Kevin
that's
Higgins,
former Citadel guy. Yeah.
former Citadel guy. He told Thomas Hennigan, "You'll never play at Wake Forest. You're too slow." And Thomas Hennigan came to Appalachian State with a chip on his shoulder and became one of the greatest football players Appalachian's ever seen. Okay. And it wasn't because he was the fastest, by the way. It wasn't because he was the most explosive and had the most athleticism. It's because he was a gritty, nasty, hard-nosed, and he was super athletic too. But he was a dude. Like we need a bunch of those guys to buy into why football in Boone even works, right? I don't know. I appreciate the question. I just can't wrap my head around how that would even happen. How would you abandon all that stuff and be successful here? That's crazy. That's crazy. I know it's a hypothetical, but I don't know.
I think those buzzwords, culture and tradition, is what brings us all back to Boone for whatever reason, and memories of things that we remember. Like,
Yeah.
of course, restaurants close, bars close, but
Howard's Knob doesn't close.
Howard's Knob doesn't close. Price Park doesn't close. Blue Ridge Parkway only closes when it's foggy and snowy, but that's why we like it.
Yeah.
Christian Guest, another hypothetical here. Beat JMU this weekend, ruin their chance at a CFP, not win again for the rest of the season. So go 5-7 and beat JMU, or lose to JMU, win our last two games, go to a bowl game, and get embarrassed on national television. 5-7 or 6-7.
5-7.
Ooh.
Get embarrassing like a Western Kentucky Bowl.
If we don't want tailgates being canceled at away games and season ticket streaks and all that stuff happening, what you have to do is you got to take care of your own turf. So I'm going to strike out the second part of this, or lose this weekend, win the last two games, and go to a bowl game. Stop.
Bowl game.
We can't control who we play. We don't schedule that bowl game.
Nope.
We can choose not to play in it, which would be dumb, which would be ridiculous, Marshall. We can't control that matchup. I mean, you've got to choose here.
I'm going 6-6. I'm going 6-6.
You got to choose to go 6-6. You got to
100%.
go choose win 2 games at home.
Yeah, you know what? I even take that back. Like, getting embarrassed at a bowl game. We've done that. And when that happened, that was like DeMarco Jackson was only going to play half a game, and guys were already like talking about leaving or whatever. Like bowl games, and I hate to say this too because I love our bowl games, but even that has like become this weird. Like I'm announcing I'm leaving. Like that almost like I'm really glad that we won all those bowl games when we did, because I think that actually that meant something. Like you took the team that you had and you went and played a bowl game. I don't think people say that anymore. Well, we won our bowl game. Yeah, that's great. A win's a win. But how many questions do you have after that? How many starters did they have? How many did you have?
Nobody's buying season tickets and coming to Boone and spending money if you win some random game in some random town in December. Yeah. They're coming because Mark Ricks. They're coming because they're coming to Boone and they're going to Kid Brewer Stadium, where they came to college and where they watched games and where they went to places after the game and before the game and all that stuff that goes along with it, right?
Yeah.
They come and got a Bagelicious at Boone Bagler. They went to Boone Shine and got a beer. Yeah. They went to Blue Deer and got some ice cream sandwiches. They went to Peppers and got a Jeans Lawson's. They went to Makoto's and got the Emperor. You name it. Whatever it is, whatever these people do, that's why they're coming. And they come to home games. They don't come because we're winning or losing bowl games,
Yeah.
and we're getting embarrassed. There's a lot of schools that aren't playing in bowl games. A
I,
lot of
I,
schools
I
that
I
weren't.
have to, yeah, I have to slap myself on the hand here because I'm just playing this in my head. I'll sit on the couch, watch us get spanked by JMU, but then next 2 weekends I get to go to Kid Brewer Stadium with my family and watch a win.
All day, all day. Hogan Sellers, I'd like to hear both of your opinions on Alex's poll he posted earlier. I think I saw that poll, Alex. Interesting
So yeah,
question.
yeah.
So many scenarios can play out before September 2027. He could stay, he could go King William route and get fired, or win 13 games and get hired by Missouri. So was that about will Dow Longos be our coach
In
September 4th,
27.
2027?
No. When we kick off against Boise in 27, will he be our head coach? And really, I wasn't alluding to him getting fired. I meant like, will he take a coordinator job? Will
Yeah.
because and that's not an indictment of Coach Loggins. That we just see that play out in the industry. That just has
Right.
happened.
That's an industry question.
That's an industry question, and it's very clear that he's again, I'm not questioning the quality of his character or any. I'm not. He's just made it clear that he's like a professional football coach. Like he approaches these things like a pro and like opportunities, and he treats things like business. He says that himself. So, and then I see the reaction that not just the reaction, the reality of like South Carolina, how bad they look without him, calling plays or working with that offense or whatever. Maybe he is like really well suited to, being a really attractive, highly paid, coordinator. And also understanding this, again, to his credit, how hard this job is. This job is super, extremely hard. Does that make him waver to say, hey, man, this is crazy. All this hard work that I'm doing putting together, there are things out of my control that like are frustrating. And then does somebody try to scoop him up as an offensive coordinator? That's really what I meant. I didn't mean, are we going to lose a bunch of games and he can get fired? I mean, I guess that could happen, but that's really not what I meant. It was more of an industry volatility question.
Yeah, it's probably three things could happen there, and to really say that one thing is in the lead versus another, like you know, you could then definitely draw conclusions about where our headspace is on certain things. Like if you say, "Well, I don't think he will be," so you must not like him. You must think he's going to get fired. You know, like that can be. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or do you think that we're so close that he's going to go win a bunch of games next year and somebody will take him away? Like,
yeah.
You know, what does next year's cycle look like after this year's cycle? Like, which we assume is going to be massive.
Yeah.
And do athletic directors next year say, you know what, man, look at all these places that fired their coach for no reason. They had good coaches right in front of them. They just had one bad year, or they couldn't get over the hump doing one little thing. And all of a sudden, like, man, they're not in a good spot. And maybe we should give somebody a chance. I hate to use that pun, but it's out there. Like, I mean, it could be a real thing. Like, hey, let's hold on to our money for a little bit.
And hey, let's not forget this. Every head coaching change isn't just one position change. It's in every position change.
It could be
those are coordinator jobs swapping back and forth too.
Yeah, that too. But I think most people try to focus on, or don't focus on, but really think about it, is like, how many steps is this one? Like, where does this one go? Because there could be hey, so Penn State's got to find somebody. Well, if they just find like a defensive coordinator somewhere, then that's not taking a coach from somewhere else, right? But like at a place like Penn State, the chances are that like, or Florida, or Auburn or LSU, that they are going to take somebody else's head coach from somewhere else, right? Virginia Tech, they're going to hire somebody, or in some cases, they may hire just a defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, some guru, and then the backsliding stops. So if Penn State takes somebody else's head coach, let's say they take Tulane's head coach, well, Tulane's probably going to go try and find another head coach, or they just say, you know what, we got everything we want here, and everybody's going to stay, and this is where the backsliding stops, and this is where the die stops rolling, or it could continue to roll and roll and roll.
Yeah.
So you go get this guy, and all of a sudden that's a defensive coordinator, and they backfill that guy with a head coach from somewhere else, like a
Yeah.
Kane Womack situation. It's like, oh, well, now that the the whole thing starts all over again.
Yep.
Where does the thread stop unraveling?
Yeah, and like this is really what I was thinking. So because I don't want people to misinterpret what I was saying. Sean Elliott worked really, really hard to make Georgia State as good as he could be. And he came to a point where he said, no matter what I do, I don't want to put up with this anymore.
Perhaps,
And he went
yeah,
and he went and said, I'm going to get more money, more peace, doing something else. And, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I don't know. It's a hard job, folks. But anyway, sorry.
Just a couple more. Steve Brooks, early thoughts on men's basketball. I think it's too early to have thoughts.
Yeah, got to get in the groove.
Yeah,
Andren's good. I like Andren. I like what Coach Kearns has said about him. I don't know. I like his game.
We gotta develop scoring, and if we can have a consistent night where we have two guys score, I think that'll help us tremendously. Let's score double figures. Someone that we counted on for a bucket. We can't have guys disappear.
Yeah.
But if we only have one guy scoring, like it's either got to be Miles and or CJ. Like we don't want to have that. Like we got to find some consistency, even if it's just complimentary scoring. I think the defense will be there. I think the defense will be fine. And then Sean Welch is going to hit us with a parting shot, not a question. But theme of the episode, I reckon. Mountaineer Walk, when you treat walking up Stadium Drive as an inconvenience, don't be surprised when fans find driving up 321 and 421 inconvenient too.
Sean, send me your address, dude. Sean, oh my God. That's what I'm talking about, man. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
That is it for the mail satchel. Wow. Let's go beat James Madison.
Let's go beat them to ruin their year forever.
But then also win 2 games at home. How about that?
Hey, man.
Let's do it.
Hey, from the beginning of the season, we've said we're just going to go 1 week at a time. This is the week. Let's win a game and see if we can do it again.
I hope everyone's not assuming the worst, right? Like, I don't want everyone to sit here and think that we're going to get beat 50-20. I think everyone wants to, or is scared of that.
I would love for James Madison to think that's going to happen.
Somebody is somewhere.
Yeah, I agree. All right, folks. Well, thanks for downloading this episode this week of the Black and Gold Podcast. And until our post-game episode, where hopefully we're talking about a big fat dub from Harrisonburg, go Apps.